All right, let's just jump right in. Forget computers, forget virtual reality. The most powerful simulation engine we know of is literally sitting inside your head. Every single night, your brain constructs a complete, immersive, and emotionally convincing reality from absolutely nothing. We just call it a dream. But here's the real question, the one that should probably bother you. You wake up in the morning, you stretch, and you just assume the simulation is over. But how do you actually know? How can you be sure?
And see, this is the heart of the whole dilemma. The only instrument you have to check if you're really awake is the exact same organ that just spent hours proving it's an absolute master at fooling you. You're basically asking the artist to tell you if their own painting is a forgery.
Now, for any of you studying this stuff, you'll know this isn't just some late-night dorm room conversation. This has a name. It's called the reality monitoring problem. It's this fundamental challenge the brain faces trying to sort out what's real from what's just made up. And honestly, the more neuroscientists dig into it, the weirder the data gets.
So let's start with the first piece of the puzzle. Let's look at what your brain is actually doing when it's running one of these nighttime simulations. I mean, just look at this comparison. It's so stark. When you're in REM sleep, your prefrontal cortex, the logical, skeptical, reality-checking part of your brain, it basically just goes dark. It's almost completely offline. And at the very same time, your limbic system, the raw, emotional center of your brain, is lit up like a Christmas tree. It's in charge.
And that is why the most bizarre things can happen in a dream, and you just accept it. You're flying, your childhood pet is giving you stock tips, whatever. You just roll with it, because the part of your brain that would normally go, wait a second, that's impossible, has completely checked out. Okay, so that's the brain while it's dreaming. But the real mind-bender comes when we put it side by side with a waking brain and look at the actual hard data from the scans.
So researchers at the Max Planck Institute did just that. They scanned people's brains while they were awake and while they were dreaming, and what they found was just stunning. The areas for vision, for emotion, for sensory processing, they were firing in patterns that were almost identical in both states. And this gets to the absolute core of it. From the brain's own point of view, from the inside looking out, there's almost no neurological difference between experiencing something in a dream and experiencing it in quote-unquote real life. So that brings up a really uncomfortable personal question, right? If your own brain chemistry, the very hardware you're running on, can't reliably tell the two apart, what makes you so sure that you can?
And listen, this isn't some new age idea from the internet. The philosopher René Descartes was wrestling with this exact same problem almost 400 years ago. He called it the dream argument. The only thing that's changed is that now we have these incredibly detailed brain scans that just give us a much clearer picture of the problem without actually giving us an answer.
Okay, but this is where the rabbit hole goes even deeper, because some neuroscientists are now pushing an idea that's way more radical, one that suggests this whole waking versus dreaming thing might be the wrong way to think about it entirely.
The idea comes from a neuroscientist named Anil Seth, and his theory is that what you're experiencing right now, this very moment, is also a kind of simulation. He calls it a controlled hallucination. Your brain isn't seeing reality. It's taking in a ton of messy, incomplete data from your senses and making its best guess about what's out there. It's constructing your reality.
So in this view, the difference between being awake and being asleep isn't real versus fake. It's just about the data source. Waking life is a simulation that's constantly being checked and updated by information from the outside world. A dream, well, that's just the same simulation engine running wild, completely untethered from any external input. Now, all of this can feel a little abstract, a bit philosophical. But this next part is where it gets incredibly personal. Because think about it. If your perception of the entire world is being built from scratch, then what about you? This feeling you have of being a continuous self, the same person who went to bed last night, that feeling is also part of the construction. It's being reassembled every single morning, right along with everything else. And we actually have a little window into this reassembly process. It comes down to this number, 90 seconds. For about the first minute and a half after you wake up, you're in a state that researchers call sleep inertia. And during that time, your logical prefrontal cortex is still booting up. You're in this weird, blurry middle ground where you're not quite dreaming, but you're not quite awake either. The boundary is as thin as it's ever going to be.
And here's why that boundary is so fragile. It's because you don't have a dream brain and a waking brain. It's all one system. You've got the same hardware, the same neurons, the same chemistry, trying to do two totally different jobs. And sometimes
things can get a little mixed up. And get this, think about lucid dreamers, people who actually become aware that they're dreaming while they're in the dream. You'd think the first feeling they'd have is relief, right? Or power, but it's not. Overwhelmingly, the first thing they report feeling is vertigo, a deep, profound sense of instability. Because once you've been inside a perfect simulation and you know it's a simulation, it plants a little seed of doubt in your mind. The next morning, when you wake up and everything feels solid and real again, a new question just hangs there. Are you really sure this time?
Sleep wall.